Space Cats, and happy January. My name is Jules and this is the third in my series Children's Book Publishing Masterclass. When studying my degree in illustration, there was very little tuition on publishing. Back then, there was only one way to get into print, and that was through a traditional publisher. But now everything has changed and you can publish a book at the flick of a switch. This is both good and bad. Good because you have a realistic opportunity to get your book published. Bad because so does everybody else and their dog. The key ingredient to success is to produce something to the best of your ability that is highly polished. So if you want to make 2020 the year that you get your book out to people, it's good news. You really can. I often get asked how to publish children's books, so I've made this masterclass series to get you started. This is the third in 3 videos, so if you haven't seen the other 2, I would advise you to watch that one up there, watch them in sequence and then come back to this one. But before you go anywhere, make sure you subscribe and ding the bell notification next to it so you know where to come back to. Now, if you're staying with me, on to business. If you followed the previous step and made some thumbnail sketches to get your pacing right, then you should have a good idea about what is going on in each page. Now comes what I think is the most exciting part of all. What, in detail, is going to happen in the illustrations on your page. As for your text, if you haven't finalised the editing process yet, don't worry too much. I always make the final edits to my text after I've finished the layouts. As long as you've got a good plan, this should be okay. The reason that you need a good layout is to iron out all the problems and, of course, give your reader a good visual experience. If you want to add text into your illustrations, it is here that you can plan where that will go. At this stage, you can really play with the page. Try out different viewpoints and really use your imagination. You can look at other books in your age range and genre and see how other authors tackle their layouts. Don't forget, you will want to change and edit your page. So that means use a pencil, use an eraser, and also don't be too precious about your first attempts. If you've ever seen my videos about bullet journaling, then you might be familiar with the idea of funneling down information. It's a bit like that on the journey from your first idea to your final piece of artwork. First you plan your thumbnails with scant information. It's maybe even just be a few notes. Then during the layout phase you tend to make more firm decisions about what is going to be on the page. And then finally you will have a finished piece of artwork. It's as though all the details on the page are being funneled down to get rid of extraneous information. While you're thinking about your layouts, keep in mind that when you come to start your artwork, whatever medium you are using, you will need to think about the bleed and the safe zone. If you want some more information and explanation on these 2 things, then check out this video. There is also a section on this very thing in my course, but more about that later. When you come to design your cover, remember that you will need space for your spine too, and this will really depend on the thickness of your paper. If you're using KDP and Amazon, then you can look at their cover template designer, and that should tell you exactly how wide your spine is going to be. Equally, if you're using a company to print your physical books, then you can ask them for advice, and they will tell you the thickness of the paper that you're going to be using and how wide your spine will be. When you've completed all of your layouts and made your end pages, copyright page, title page and dedication page, you can give yourself a giant pat on the back and then start your final pieces of artwork. When I say final pieces of artwork, remember that this is a stage 2. It doesn't mean that when you finish your page and you've done all the colouring, that's it. You might do many versions of one page. My biggest takeaway from university was don't be too precious. Just because you spent ages doing something doesn't mean that it's right. If you have a niggling feeling that something needs to change, then it probably does. On the other hand, you might be one of these people who can go on changing things ad infinitum to the detriment of actually getting the thing published. It doesn't have to be perfect to be published, just darn good. The final thing that I wanted to say is how you can stand out from the crowd. There is a heck of a lot of competition out there. So how can you make your book be noticed? Well, firstly, the cover needs to be visually stimulating. It's the first thing that your buyer or your reader will see, so make it sing. Secondly, be imaginative. People are more likely to recommend your book to a friend or someone else they know if your story is exciting and new, or at least a new take on an existing theme. And thirdly, and equally importantly, your book needs to look like it's been published by a professional. It needs to be the best quality printing that you can afford, with mistake-free, eloquent text and excellent illustrations. There, easy, right? Well, no, not easy, but when you get it right, exceptionally rewarding. If you really want to make 2020 the year that you publish your book and start the journey to becoming a fully fledged author, then check out the link below. It will take you to the free preview of my course. Going from that initial spark of an idea through all the stages that we've talked about in this masterclass to publishing. Not only is the preview free, but in the month of January, the course cost is almost quartered. Why did I do that? Well, I wanted to help as many people as possible achieve their dream at the beginning of the year. It took me literally years to figure all this stuff out, and here it all is in one easily digestible piece. You can take it apart and watch it for as long as you want. I'm really glad you found this video series. Thanks for watching and sticking with me. Help me get out to more potential authors by liking and sharing with your friends, either here or on Facebook. Catch up next Friday for a bullet journal plan with me for February. Oh my goodness, winter is nearly over. Yippee! I'm off to ride a tiny pony into a long tube of Smarties. I will see you next time. Nanu nanu!